Chapter 1. The First Ring. Do you believe the dead can call back? I didn't. Not until my phone rang at 2:14 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. The name glowing on the screen nearly stopped my heart. It said Mom. But my mother had been dead for 4 days. I sat in the dark with the phone shaking in my hand, every vibration rattling through my bones. At first, I thought I was dreaming. The funeral had just happened. My head was full of exhaustion and grief. But the sound was sharp, real, pulling me awake. The ringtone echoed through the room, and all I could think was, phones don't lie. They don't ring unless someone dials. My thumb hovered over the answer button, but I froze. I couldn't bear the thought of silence on the other end, or worse, a stranger's voice pretending to be her. It rang, and rang, then stopped. For a moment, I thought it was over. Then a new icon appeared. A voicemail. My hands felt like stone, but I pressed play. Static spilled out first, a harsh hiss. Then underneath it, faint and fractured, a voice I knew better than my own heartbeat. "Honey, I'm cold." I dropped the phone. It landed face down on the carpet, but the message kept playing. The words broke into fragments, twisting through the static. "Dark in here. They can't hear me. Don't let them." The message ended. I sat in the stillness of my room, heart hammering in my throat. The silence felt unnatural, like the air was holding its breath. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, sunlight spilled through my blinds as if nothing had happened. I tried to convince myself it was a cruel glitch, some lingering ghost in the wires of her account. But the phone sat on my nightstand like a loaded gun, waiting for me to pick it up. I replayed the message, over and over. Her voice was unmistakable. I wasn't crazy. She had said those words. Grief does strange things, I told myself. People hear loved ones in dreams, in songs, in the whisper of wind. But this wasn't a dream. This was my phone. This was recorded. That night, the call came again. Same time, same name glowing across the screen. I answered. "Hello?" My voice cracked like a child's. Static, heavy, dragging static, like someone breathing through water. "Mom, is that you? Don't let them bury me." My knees nearly gave out. "You're already buried," I whispered back. "I was there. I saw. Please, hear me." Then silence. The line went dead. I stood alone in my dark room, phone pressed to my ear, heart rattling in my chest. That was no glitch. That was her voice, carrying the weight of fear and urgency. And I didn't know which was worse. The idea that I was losing my mind, or the idea that she was still out there somewhere calling for help. Chapter 2. The Unknown. I didn't answer the phone again for 3 nights. But every time, without fail, at 2:14 a.m., it rang. And every time I let it go to voicemail, there was a new message. Each one worse than the last. The first. "Honey, it's so dark. Please, can you light a candle for me?" The second. "They're coming closer. I can hear them. Don't let them touch me." The third. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to go. I started writing down every word, every phrase. The static made it hard to catch everything, but I recorded what I could. My notebook filled with fragments, buried, dark, cold. They. Always they. By the 4th night, I couldn't bear it anymore. When the call came, I pressed answer with shaking hands. "Mom, what's happening? Where are you?" There was no static this time, no broken whisper, just a long, low breath. "They know you can hear me now." The line cut. My blood turned to ice. That morning, I drove to the cemetery. The sun was sharp and cruel, glaring off rows of polished headstones. Birds sang in the distance, too cheerful for such a place. I stood at her grave, reading her name carved in stone. Fresh flowers wilted in the heat. I dug my nails into my palms until I nearly bled. "I don't know if you can hear me," I whispered, "but if you can, please stop. Please let me go." The ground was still. The breeze carried nothing but the rustle of leaves. For the first time since the calls began, I wondered if I was losing my mind. But when I returned home, the phone was waiting. A new voicemail. Her voice, clearer than ever. "You came, I felt you, but they're angry now." That night, the ringing began earlier, midnight, then again at 1, then again at 2. Every time the same number, unknown. Every time a new voice, whispering through the static. Some were harsh, guttural. Some were almost playful, giggling like children behind a wall, but her voice was always there between them, crying, pleading. By the 5th night, I couldn't tell which was worse. The silence between rings, or the voices clawing through when I answered. the notebook on my desk filled with more fragments. They're cold, they're hungry, they're waiting. She's ours. And then one line, scrawled at the bottom of the page after the most recent message. Words that chilled me deeper than the grave ever could. We're coming through the wires. Chapter 3. The Descent. Sleep was impossible. Every night I sat awake, waiting for the sound of the phone, the hiss of static, the voices clawing through the dark. I thought about telling my sister, but how could I? She was drowning in her own grief. If I handed her mine, she would sink with me. Instead, I carried it alone. I stopped answering the phone altogether, but ignoring the calls didn't stop them. It only made them angrier. Messages piled up, dozens, then hundreds. My voicemail filled with fragments of voices, a chorus of whispers, laughter, screams. I deleted them, but new ones appeared. I turned off the phone, but when I turned it back on, the log showed missed calls, all at 2:14 a.m. I bought a new phone, new number, new carrier. The calls followed. The first night with the new phone, it rang at exactly 2:14. Unknown. I nearly dropped it. My throat burned as I whispered, "How?" A voicemail appeared. I pressed play. Her voice again. "You can't run. The wires are everywhere. Please, don't let them take me." That night, the power in the house flickered. Lights dimmed. The television turned itself on, blaring static. The phone buzzed and buzzed until I hurled it against the wall. The screen cracked, but the ringing didn't stop. It was inside the walls now, inside the wires. I sat in the dark, trembling, as the voices filled the house. Not through the phone, through everything. The vents, the outlets, the humming wires in the plaster. They whispered my name. Chapter 4. The Breaking Point. By the 10th night, I was a shadow of myself. My eyes were sunken. My hands shook. Food turned to ash in my mouth. Everywhere I went, the calls followed. At work, my office phone rang at 2:14. At the gas station, the payphone near the pumps shrieked to life. Even strangers' phones buzzed when I passed, their faces twisting in confusion as they glanced at the glowing screens. I knew then it wasn't just about me. They were bleeding through. The final straw came on the 12th night. I woke to silence. For the first time in weeks, no ringing, no static, no voices. I thought it was over. Until I looked at the mirror. My reflection's mouth was moving, but I wasn't speaking. And in her voice, my mother's voice, it whispered, "They're here." I looked around my darkened house, the shadows pulsing with static, the walls trembling with whispers. I realized I had only two choices: keep running until they tore me apart, or answer fully, and go where she had gone. The line hummed. "Honey," she said, "don't let them bury you alive." I closed my eyes, and I said, "I'm ready." The static swallowed me whole, and the line went dead.